David Simmons has played a vital role in the growth and success of Western Governors University for more than 2 decades. He first joined our National Advisory Board in 2003, and soon after became a member of WGU's Board of Trustees, where he served with distinction for 18 years. His leadership helped guide WGU from a bold idea to a nationally recognized institution delivering high-quality, accessible, and affordable education to learners across the country. But David's impact is more than strategic. It's also a deeply personal. As a generous supporter of WGU, his philanthropy has helped open doors for students, enabling many to pursue their goals through the very mission he's championed from the start. Beyond WGU, David is a distinguished leader in media, communications, and business. He's led organizations like Simmons Media Group and Keystone Communications. And today, he continues to shape industries as the head of Simmons Capital and co-chair of M+ Global Events. He's also served as a trusted voice in civic and educational leadership throughout Utah and beyond. David's life reflects the values we hold dear at WGU: perseverance, service, and a belief in the power of learning to transform lives. It is our privilege to honor him today. Please join me in turning your attention to the screens.
David Simmons, been involved with WGU for many years. I first got involved with WGU back in 2003. I was asked to be on the National Advisory Board. When we started 20 plus years ago, it was a novel concept. It was a paradigm shift for higher education. And it was really a daring move by a group of governors here in the West who had decided that they wanted to try and marry a concept of using new technology along with a competency-based approach to how that could be achieved. I, as a young child, had a really bad speech impediment. I could hardly talk. And I spent years in therapy. So when I was a junior in high school, I remember I had volunteered to be in a school musical, and I ended up with this leading part. All my friends over there said, "You can't do that, you can't hardly talk." Well, by then I could talk a bit. And I think standing on stage, seeing that, thinking, wow, I could overcome something in my life. I was in the radio business for years, and we had very entertaining people in that business. I can say that I've really tried to focus my career on several things. One is I think about the opportunity that I've had in our various businesses to help inform people. I've been involved with education for a lot of years. To be able to see people educated and to see the success out of that has just been a terrific thing to see. And then finally, I guess, looking at how we can help enrich people's lives. And you certainly do that through education. Also do that by making sure that they're properly informed and that they have fun at the same time. Accessibility was primarily thought of through the technology that was being used, being online as opposed to sitting in a classroom. Today, accessibility means far more: to be affordable and to be something that every student can be able to have. The accelerated learning of it's a very important aspect of it as well, to get through this for a self-motivated learner and not have to spend all the time you would with a traditional institution. A concept that I've tried to learn in my life is the importance of what I would call returning and reporting. Every time I think of things I have done well in my life, it's that concept of going back and having to report, having to set goals, and then reporting on my success or failure in those goals that have really meant a lot. And in a way, I think it's interesting. Graduation, whether it's a university commencement, almost provides us with a ceremonial opportunity to return and report. These are all values that really line up strongly with where I feel. I've spent most of my career, I believe, in trying to find ways of making things affordable and making things accessible, and in doing it in a way that the student or the customer or the client really appreciates having.
David, will you now please join me here at the lectern? I'll also invite our Provost, Courtney Hills Macbeth, and WGU's Chair of the Board of Trustees, Joe Fuller, to join me as well. On behalf of all of us today, we express our deepest appreciation for your leadership and unwavering commitment to shaping a better future for individuals everywhere. It is truly our privilege to present you with this Honorary Doctorate of Humane Letters.
Wow. President Pulsifer and members of the Board of Trustees, I really appreciate the extremely great honor and recognition that you've given me today. And I just want to say a word of thanks to Carl and to Trevor. What amazing stories. They add to the stories of more than 900 of you as well that are achieving these degrees today. I find it somewhat ironic that I spent the bulk of my working career leading companies that broadcast to millions, and yet I, as a little boy, was unable to speak to anyone. When I was 6 years old, my parents would take us to church on Sundays, and one of the activities was a children's Sunday school class, where they would ask a couple of the kids to give prepared 2.5-minute talks. Well, when my turn came, I remember going up to the podium, standing behind it like this, opening my mouth, and nothing came out but gargled sounds. I had a block in my throat, and I couldn't speak any words. Well, the kids started to laugh. And pretty soon, even the teachers joined in with the kids in some laughter. And I remember I had a choice to make. I could either cover my face, turn around, go back to my seat, or I could join in their laughter. Well, I started to laugh, fighting hard to hold back some tears. I had a serious stutter, and for the next 10 years, I struggled every day with it. I couldn't talk to family or friends without a constant stuttering or stammering. I couldn't even say my own name. There were only 2 people I could talk to without stuttering: me and God. Because alone in front of a mirror, I could talk to myself with perfect fluency. And kneeling by my bed, I could fluently pray to God, asking, why? Why do I have to face such great challenges? Well, when I was 12, I first met Dr. Marvin Hansen, a speech therapist at the University of Utah. And when I began therapy, I could only say one word in 5 without a stutter or a stammer. And over 4 years of therapy, my fluency increased until one day in my junior year in high school, a friend dared me to try out for the school musical. And I love dares, but I tried out, I hammed up the audition, and I ended up with a leading role, much to many people's surprise. After months of rehearsals, in which I didn't have many problems, opening night finally came. Hundreds filled the auditorium, And the show opened. I was alone, center stage, spotlight on me. And I opened my mouth, and I felt a block. This sudden fear overcame me. 10 years of frustration and doubt flashed before my eyes. I felt like I was 6 years old again, trying to decide whether to laugh or cry. But as I saw myself at that time standing before a mirror or kneeling beside a bed, I took a deep breath, I exhaled slowly, and I began to speak and to sing and to dance. And for the rest of the show and for every other performance, I spoke with perfect fluency. I had found my voice. We have all encountered challenges. They come in all sorts and types and forms. But I'll bet, and betting's legal here in Vegas, that everyone in this arena has faced some type of similar challenge. Friedrich Nietzsche, the German philosopher, said, "There will always be rocks in the road ahead of us. They will be stumbling blocks or stepping stones. It all depends on how you use them." Well, like every graduate sitting here today, you have faced rocks in the road ahead. You've laughed at the face of adversity. You've spent hours digesting knowledge, counseling with your mentors, completing assignments, taking tests. If you breezed through a course, it was because you had spent years of hard real-life situation learning those materials. You even passed your math assessment with a B average or above. You have let your stumbling blocks become your stepping stones. You have accomplished something that many doubted you could ever do. Your doubters were those kids who laughed at me when I was 6. Your doubters may have been family or friends who questioned why you would ever want or need a college degree. Your doubters saw your challenges, they saw your difficulties and your weaknesses, and they assumed they would handicap your entire life. But I think standing in front of your mirror or kneeling beside your bed, you knew you had the will, the courage, the tenacity, and the intelligence to prove them wrong and to prove to yourself that you could do it. By walking across this stage and receiving your diploma today, you have fought hard to earn what you have found, and you have found your voice. No one can doubt your abilities. You join over 380,000 WGU alumni who have similar stories of personal success. You're part of the fastest growing network of self-motivated college graduates in America. You are a remarkable group of achievers. And for 2 decades, it has been my great satisfaction to witness from the sidelines your success. I challenge you to use your skills, your talents, and your voice to help others find their own pathway to success. And as you do, you will continue to find your own. Thank you.